exams.
It's interesting you would mention schools closing, Secretary of State, because this was my conversation again last month with your colleague, Home Secretary Priti Patel.
So my colleague, Gavin Williamson in the Department of Education, we're working with schools to look at the plans for schools going back, but also ensuring that we have the protective and preventative measures in place, such as mass testing, to keep our children safe.
Yes. So how confident are you that they will? So that's the importance of education.
So
and how hard
I'm confident schools will be returning in January.
All pupils.
No doubt about that. I can't tell you about...
No doubt about that. So the assurance that the exams would go ahead was wrong. The assurance that all pupils will be returning was wrong. Why should my listeners have any faith in you and your colleagues?
Well, what we've seen globally is the largest disruption since the Second World War.
I wonder if we could focus on Westminster, though. This is what we hear from you. I hear from Priti Patel. Promises. These are like Mary Poppins, pie crust promises, easy to make, easy to break.
It won't surprise you, Nick. The last thing I ever wanted to see is schools closing again for a second time to, all but the children of critical workers and vulnerable children. But it was a national decision that we had to make in the national interest. We were having to take the really incredibly difficult step as this new variant spread, even more extreme action that we had to do in terms of the second national lockdown, where we'd able to preserve and protect schools by keeping them open. But due to the new variant, we had to make a different decision. And it wasn't one that any of us wanted to make, but it was a position that we found ourselves in.
All right.
And, at all stages, and, we want to always protect education. That's why schools were the last to close. That is why they'll also be the first to open.
And as part of this, it was announced that there would be daily COVID testing in secondary schools. You hailed this as a milestone, Mr Williamson. That has now been paused. If you are so determined, why would that be paused?
So there's two types of testing that we sort of do in schools. There's the mass testing, where all those who are coming into school are getting tested, and that's continuing. And we started to roll that out from the 4th of January in terms of literally millions of kits being distributed to schools right across the country. And that's up and running for staff and pupils in secondary schools. And we've rolled that out to all staff in primary schools. I think what you're referring to is the daily testing that we're doing. So if, for example, you had come in contact with your director at LBC who had COVID, you were then made to self-isolate as a result of that. We'd done trials all last year of where in lots of schools across the country, so instead of those pupils having to self-isolate for a period of time, those teachers, they could take a test every single day for 7 days. But what Public Health England have asked us to do is actually pause that scheme while they do an evaluation in relation to the new variant and how that impacts on it. So we're very much hoping to restart that. But the mass testing for all pupils and all staff, that's very much up and running. And of course, it'll be a really important part of bringing schools back and making sure pupils can get back into school.
Let me